Hello, this is Julio Jovel. I'm a part of Project Online-09 for SCR 215. And my project group is actually with Jameson Martin and David Arnold. When we decided on a project or a game to make, we all came to the decision of something battleship-esque we call BattlebLock. It was a great little experience for us. We definitely learned a lot from each other. And we wanted to make sure that we kept it close to the original game, but we did change it up so that we could meet the parameters of what we had designed while still making it playable and fun. So what we have here is we actually have the jar executable file. Made it a lot easier so we can just run it straight from there, and we can definitely do that. So when we start up here on the game, what we have is we have three choices, and computers mainly playing against us. They're letting us know that they're above us, but they're saying that they're the digital destroyer while we're mere humans. So here you have a play against a computer. Here you have a two-player game. You can also just exit. Either one of these right here will allow you to exit. Initially, when we were setting up the game and trying to set up our J-frames and whatnot, we did have an issue with it not exiting or completely terminating, but that was a little bit of learning, and we were able to get that going rather quickly. But we'll start off the game by playing against the computer. So we select here. And what you see here is you have the option, you have player one base here, and you have the computer base on the other side. What we're asked to do is select the location of 5 ships. Each one of these J buttons you can select, and you'll get a vessel on there. One of the things that we did have to fix initially, well, actually two things, was you could actually before select the same spot over and over and over again, but now we don't. We can't. You can go ahead and make sure that it's 5 different spots. The other thing that you could do was you can actually select a spot on the opposing person's board, which would be pretty sneaky, but at the same time you might select your own ship whenever you go select it. So now go ahead and we have 5 vessels, and once we have the 5 on board, we know it's our turn to attack. So as we attack right here, the computer attacks as well. You can see they're getting a lot closer. The computer's rather smart, definitely beats us most of the time. Maybe I need to make my attacks a little more random. The same thing again is even when you're attacking, if you were to attack the same spot that you've already attacked, it doesn't take that into account. It allows you to keep selecting the actual next spot. So let's see. Oh, no, computer 1. So what we have here is we have a destroyed board, is what we're calling this right here. The board turns completely red. Our vessels, you can see them here, they're on fire, while the computer's got 4 on fire. And you can see where our attacks missed and their attacks missed. And down at the bottom, of course, the computer makes fun of us, says computer wins, how appropriate. Again, just letting us know, that they're a little bit above us. And one of the things that we learned from this, and as we were playing around more and more, we let some, other people play with it as well, was they wanted to play it again, playing it over and over and testing it. So we just added a quick play again button. The play again allows us to go ahead and select again, did you want to play the CPU or the computer, or do you want to play a 2-player game? For a 2-player game, we initially envisioned something that would be a multi-threaded server, allowing us to do it. And as we went through and we were continuously testing it over and over again, what we found was that without having a dedicated host, without having any of that, and with being all around the country for us, it was a lot more difficult to try to set up the server and bypass firewall and make sure that we can complete with everybody's individual internet service. So we went ahead and we decided to change the game up a little bit, where the human is a 2-player local, where you actually gonna play on the same board. So here you go ahead and select human. We have a new board, and initially we thought, well, we'd hate to see where everybody places their board, so it's kind of on the honor system. We sit there and we'll take the board, and you say, I'm player 1, let me select the 5 spaces right here, and you see you have 4 spaces. Once you hit the 5th one, they all disappear. So you give the computer back to player 2, you can sit there and say, okay, well, let him select his 5 spaces. Here you have 4. On the 5th one, they disappeared. Now, both of you on the same screen, you can select where each one's at, right? You just keep going. Then you have a destroyed board on this side, right over here, with showing where the attacks you made, so on and so forth. Whereas over here, and again, you have the play again feature where you can go ahead and select to play again. One thing that we did run across when we first initialized the play again feature was that if you decided, you know what, I'm done, I want to go ahead and finish playing, and you click run away or you click the X, it did finish it and it did close it out in Task Manager, but in Eclipse, for some reason, it didn't terminate the process. So I wanted to make sure that we went ahead and fixed that, and we did. It was, a quick 5-minute fix after looking at the code and identifying where it was at, so we were able to do that. So we'll go ahead and click out of that, and you see that it's done. Now, some of the things that this project posed in terms of problems was more logistical than anything, with having 3 people from different parts of the world with different work schedules being able to try to meet up. It was definitely difficult, but what we used for the most part was Google Hangouts, and it was quite essential to the entire project. I mean, with the advent of cell phones, you download the app, you can talk almost instantaneously across the country with anybody, get an update on where we were at, especially with splitting up the work, trying to identify how do you split up the work. You're looking at the UML diagram, and you're trying to figure out, is this the best way to do it? So here we are. This is our Google Hangouts with the amount of pictures and the amount of things that we send out to one another to show, hey, this is where we're at. This is kind of what's going on. You can see testing and everything like that we were able to do. As we split up the work, initially it was one person on the GUI, one person on the board, or the players, and the last one on the multi-threading. Which the multi-threading probably proved to be the biggest part that was boggling our mind. We kept going back and forth with one another, trying to make sure that we each understood what we were doing. And even that, just trying to get the pieces together, we found that using Google, using their drive, we were able to get everything on there. So here we have, this is our Google Drive. We created a folder, SCR215, that we were sharing. And this is our initial jar file. This is where we all started with. This one right here created a board and a couple of J buttons, and we were kind of able to do something from there. And what we did was everybody imported that into Eclipse or NetBeans and went ahead and started adding their own things. And as one thing changed, here you are. Here's jar number 2. This is iteration number 2. Again, for 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to iteration number 12, which is our last iteration. Which works great. We went through, make sure that there was a lot of testing on there, make sure that everything that changed, put out an update. I mean, when we look at, our Google Hangouts and the amount of talking that we did, I mean, and this was at all times of day, all times of night, mobile, not mobile, all of that. Here it is. I mean, just back and forth. So, making sure that we each understood where we were at, how we were going to get to the next point, making sure that we were able to share the latest and greatest of what we actually had going. It was quite difficult initially, but again, as Google Hangouts was essential and helped us out in making sure that we got this done. We made minor changes to what we had initially thought we were going to make, especially with the multi-threading and turning that into a 2-player process. But as we went along and talked with people who were kind of testing it out, I had family test it out, other people had other people test it out. So it was one of those things where we kind of saw, the potential in it, and decided that a 2-player local game would be fun and easier to use, as well as to maintain. So we went through it, and we were able to get all of that on there and share the code, make sure that we all understood where everybody was at on that, and test it continuously, just continuously test it to make sure that we didn't have any problems with the final product. So when we look at it, we're definitely happy with the work that everybody put in. We're happy with how everybody was able to share. We're happy with how everybody was able to come to this particular product. And the amount of learning that we learned from one another was great. When you're looking at how one person does their version of coding, and you're doing yours, and you're kind of learning from them, and they're learning from you, and it's great. It's more. It was a very, very good bonding experience between 3 strangers, I think. So that's our project. It's definitely something that we put a lot of work into. We made sure that it had everything that it needed to have, and we hope that you guys like it. Thank you.
Thank you, Julio, for that presentation. Hello, everyone. My name is Dave, and I'm also a member of the BattlebLock team. And I would like to briefly go over some initial planning by showing you our use case and our class diagram. In our use case, you see we have 2 actors here, player and the external network. We actually did away with the external network and substituted that with a local player number 2. And Julio discussed the reasons behind that decision earlier in the video. But here's a real general view of our gameplay. Player selects to start the game. Then he has the option to select who he wants to play against, computer or player number 2. At this point, players make the placement of their ships. The grid's updated accordingly. After all 5 ships are placed by both players, then the attacks begin, each taking separate turns, and then the grid's updated after each attack. After 5 successful attacks, then the game comes to an end. Here we have our class diagram of all the classes we use in the development of our game. You see we have a computer player class where the random placement of ships and the random attacks for the computer take place. Of course, we have a player class. The BattlebLock GUI class, this class here, it extends the J-frame, and it builds the panel that holds the game boards. It adds the game boards to the frame, and it keeps track of whose turn it is. Below that, you'll see the game board class. The game board class this is where the ships are stored, the attacks are stored, and this is the class that determines whether their game comes to an end or if it continues, all based on whether or not there's been 5 successful attacks. The game piece class. The game piece class, this here, well, you see it extends the J button. Here is for a lot of the visualization for